This is Read Essay Season 2. This season, we're taking a moment to highlight the leaders in our Native communities. Leaders in academia, entertainment, tribal politics, satellite communities, authors, speakers. These are the people that continue to transcend their blue card to make a positive difference in the Indigenous world today and for the future of our people. So without hearing much more from me, enjoy Read Essay. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Read Essay. My name is Brandon Caruso. This week I'm happy to bring on Denise Alley. She's a good friend of mine. She's a Cherokee Nation citizen. She's an author and she's a motivational speaker. And she travels around the world with the likes of Willie Nelson and Neil Young and a bunch of other artists. She's going to be talking a little bit about her work with them as well as her book Native Heart, which I highly recommend. So without further ado, here's Denise Alley. Enjoy.
I have been a speaker for about 20 years. I grew up around Veneta. It's called the White Oak community, and it's primarily Shawnee, Cherokee, kind of a rural community. And then when I was older, we moved to Tahlequah, and so I lived there for a short time before I went off to college. So on my mother's side, I am registered Cherokee. And we're also under the umbrella of the Shawnee, the loyal Shawnee tribe that was also kicking in and under the Cherokees as well.
Okay.
And I have lived in Arizona about 20 years, and I'm currently a workshop trainer, and I'm an author of my book called Native Heart. I went to school in Utah, and I always enjoyed back in high school, I enjoyed drama and debate. So I was kind of a natural speaker, enjoyed being with people. And then also in college, I remember taking a lot of communication classes and really enjoyed that aspect of it. And I majored just in a general mass communication degree, so I kind of had a little bit of everything. When I finished college, I moved to Arizona where my father was living. And I had a fellow college colleague that worked for a small company called Motivational Seminars and said that they need help. So I contacted them, and they said, well, we don't really have any money to pay, but, we might need a little help every now and then. And I just volunteered. I said, I just want to volunteer. And they work primarily with Native tribes throughout Arizona as well as other tribes. Then I went out and just helped to do some training for the youth and secretaries. And then they just kind of opened up the door and had more opportunities. And then I just got sent out. That was like in February. So by June, I was driving out by myself on the Navajo reservation doing 2-day workshops for youth on different chapters, all throughout the Navajo Nation. And I remember driving out there, never really been up there, but loved it. So that was like in 1990, so I guess it's really been like 24 years ago. And I worked for them for 7 years, and then I kind of went on my own. And then I got asked to speak at different Native American team building and communication and those kinds of things. And then I'm more into the wellness field now, and I just really love and enjoy being with Native people, and I remember being asked a question in college. I was helping out with the leadership conference, and I was able to get a lot of our Native American students and ethnic students involved in attending, and we were up in the mountains in Utah, and it was so beautiful. And one of the workshops asked, what do you value? And I remember 3 things I wrote down. I said, I value being Native American, my tribes, and my culture, being Cherokee and Shawnee and also Otoe on my father's side. And my second thing I value is working with Native American people and tribal people. And the third thing is I value personal and professional development where people are learning and just feeling good and being able to expand their goals and their values, and working with whatever they desire. So I guess expanding our personal and professional development. And so, lo and behold, 20 some odd years later, I'm working in that very area that I said that I really truly valued, working with Native tribes.
And how did you come about writing your book, Native Heart?
It has a funny story to it. I always wanted to write a book because of just my different experiences, but I have a funny story about visiting Tahlequah, where my a mother retired from Cherokee Nation. I go back there every year, a couple of times a year. And I have a sister. She helps people, elderly, with their help, like if they need help with their roof or air conditioning, those kinds of things. And she was going to go visit one of our Cherokee elders, Crosland Smith, out in Vian. So I went with her. And we drove out through, the country, so beautiful, big green oak trees, and through the through the beautiful fields, and
Sure.
and we go out to Vian, and we visit for a while. And he had a long string with a rock on the end of it, and we're just kind of talking. And then he puts his head back and he goes, "Yep, I think I know what's wrong, or I know what's going on here." And he pointed at me and he said, "You have a mental illness."
Oh, no.
And I'm like, "Oh, no." One of our Cherokee elders. And I said, "Oh, no." And he said, "You think too much with your head and you don't feel enough with your heart." And I'm like, "Oh, my goodness." And I think kind of in today's society as Native Americans, we certainly wear two hats. We're very busy in our work and families and whatever else we're involved in. But to slow down and just really fill with our hearts and use our spiritual gifts. And so thus I called my book Native Heart. And I just share 7 easy-to-read chapters on healing and being in the moment and forgiveness and, and listening and sitting on the ground and just kind of being where we're at. And those are the old ways that people used to do. They would just sit down and visit, and they would just, talk heart to heart and share experiences. So that's what my book's about, and kind of my message is that we just kind of slow down and truly communicate with people face to face and, value and respect each other like in our Indian ways.
Wow, that's great. And at some point in the middle of this, you were able to cross paths with the likes of Neil Young and Willie Nelson. How did that come about?
Very interesting. Well, my mother is really talented as well, and she always instilled with me to have confidence. And we grew up at powwows, going to powwows, and my grandmother would make us beautiful regalia, our cloth dresses, and later on she made my mother a beautiful buckskin dress that we all, shared in wearing at one time or another, like in even talent shows, even besides powwows growing up as a young girl. But on my father, well, my parents were divorced, but my father just had a knack for, he just had no fear. If he wanted to meet somebody, he would just go make it happen. And he remarried and had my half-brothers and half-sisters, and he started doing Indian shows. And so anytime we got together, we would always do performing together. And my father knew that Willie Nelson was in Vegas. I was in college at the time. This was in the early 80s. And my dad knew that Willie Nelson was in Vegas. And so he went straight up to the security people at the penthouse at Caesar's Palace. And my brothers were all dressed up in their wonderful, their feathers, like fancy dance. And he had me come down from college, and I was there, and he walked right up to the security guard and said, "We're here to meet Willie Nelson." So the security guy goes, "Oh, okay." All these Indians showing up and all of our full regalia and everything.
Wow.
And we got to go right up to the penthouse and meet him and just do a few performances for him. And that started out a friendship with Willie Nelson and my father.
Oh,
who had shared a friendship for 27 years. And then eventually my father adopted him as an Indian brother, which is another funny story. But he invited my father and all of our family to open up the whole Willie Nelson benefit concert for the family farmer. And so we've been doing that. And my father has passed 7 years ago. And we still go and do that. We were just with Willie Nelson benefit concert for the family farmer.
Oh, wow.
But so that's how we kind of got started with Farm Aid. But the one quick story, when my father went to adopt Willie Nelson as an Indian brother, he had one of his elders from the Otoe tribe come and do that, named Koshaway, who has since passed on. But Willie Nelson's eyes got really big when he brought out a big knife. And my dad is sitting here with Willie. And he brought out this big knife, and then he goes, "No, Willie, we're not going to cut you like we're blood brothers, but let's just pretend we are and put our wrists together."
Oh,
So
wow.
Willie Nelson thought that they were going to really cut his wrist.
Oh my gosh.
Like the old way. So that's how we kind of got started doing the opening up. Willie Nelson will sing the Lord's Prayer. Then we just do like a welcome dance, a fancy dance with everyone dancing. And that led to Neil Young. Neil Young is on the board of directors for Farm Aid. And Neil Young really adored my father, Denise Alley. He really did. And so he invited us to also participate in the Bridge School benefit concert for handicapped kids that have cerebral palsy. And this is our 13th year with them, and we open up a whole concert. And humbly, I sing the hoop dance song, and my son and my granddaughter's learning the hoop dance too. So that's how we kind of got involved in that. But it gives us a chance to just represent Indian people in a good way, that we're here to maybe be a good blessing, to the event, and certainly love to the students and the children.
Wow, that's great. And what's the response been for the shows like Farm Aid and Bridge School Benefit Concert?
Positive, very positive. When we were at Farm Aid, it's like, yeah, we remember your father, and it's good to see you all here. It's so good you have such a lot of dancers this year. Sometimes it's been less people, but this year we had like 15 there.
Wow, that's great. Awesome. All right. Well, I don't want to keep you too long. I really appreciate your time again. Is there anything that you would like to leave the listener with?
I know that everyone is talented, and everyone has their journey in life. And if we can just keep walking forward as a people, and we walk with that respect and that honor for each other and for ourselves, then we will go a long ways. And we walk gently on the earth, and we walk with purpose. Everyone, has their talent to share. And I know when you give to others, it really returns back to us. It's like the Indian way, there's always a giveaway, whether we're at a powwow or a dinner, people give and give. And I really believe that the giver and the receiver benefit, but also the observer. And so if we remember that as Native people and as Cherokee people, that it comes back to us, and that we are able to love and support each other on this earth and in our lives. Because sometimes there is challenges, we have ups and downs in life, but when we pull together, and I know our former principal chief would say, the Doogie, that we all work in this together, and I certainly believe we can do that.
Okay, big wado to Denise for coming out and sharing her work. I really hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. I think anybody out there who has got a little bit of that entrepreneur spirit will take something out of that. I think it's really cool to see a Native just going out there in such a unconventional way and making a living, really following her heart, her Native heart. There you go. So thanks for listening, and my name is Brandon Caruso, and we'll see you next time. Take care.